state rivalry. Oh, you can really feel it in this arena. These two are ready to get after it. Head-to-head, strategy, back and forth, tremendous counterattack.
Yeah, it was another great day for the FCC because this is special.
That dude right there in the middle of it. Welcome everybody to Bridgestone Arena, the SEC Championship Week presented by Principal and the SEC Men's Basketball Tournament. It's in the backyard though of Vanderbilt Bridgestone Arena. It is in Nashville, Tennessee, and it is literally about an 8-minute drive to the campus. But Tennessee's got a whole bunch of fans that have crowded in here. It's Tennessee and Vanderbilt, and they are led by their guards. Jacoby Gillespie has been outstanding all season long. So good that he's a first-team All-SEC player. He needs to shoot the ball well for Tennessee to have a real chance. And Tyler Tanner's been absolutely dynamite. Kid that grew up about 20 minutes from this building. Got a chance to call Vanderbilt his home, and man, has he left an impression. It wasn't a work of art, but they got a victory. Alec Condon and company take care of Kentucky and their valiant effort. Another single-digit victory over the Wildcats. But it is Florida that advanced to the semifinals on Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern time. They'll get the winner of this one and two really big games coming up with underdogs, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, trying to knock off the seeds 3 and 2 in Arkansas and Alabama. That's Jimmy Dykes. I'm Carl Ravitch. Alyssa Lang in just a moment. I mentioned Gillespie and how important he is, but yesterday we were reminded of the greatness that Nate Ament may have in his future.
Yeah, the 13th McDonald's All-American to ever play for the Tennessee Volunteers, and you can see why he has that about him, just the it factor. And yesterday he just made play after play, none bigger than when he dove off the baseline and got tangled up with the officials and the photographers, except right back into that corner, bam, and from that point on, it was all Tennessee. Tennessee had a 20-0 run at one point, and Nate Ament was all over and all a part of that 20-0 run. Just a special talent and a special kid. Coming off of an ankle injury, looked really good yesterday, and to your point, he and Gillespie carry the offensive load for Tennessee. They cannot get stuck today against this Vanderbilt defense. It's very scrappy on the defensive end with the pressure.
Now listen, it's a rubber game. Each team has won one.
Yeah, and they've both won one on the other's home floor. At the beginning of conference play, Tennessee went to Vanderbilt. They got a win. Then Vanderbilt returned the favor in the very last day of the regular season on the road on Senior Day in Knoxville. We asked Coach Byington what the difference was between game 1 and game 2, and he said, my guys are really good at diagnosing the film after playing somebody one time and going back and making those corrections. Not that Tennessee was looking past the first day yesterday, but I got a sense at their shoot-around at the beginning of the week that they were really hoping that they would see Vanderbilt here in this tournament to get a little lick back from what happened on Senior Day. Bishop Boswell telling me he knows this team has so much more potential than they've shown so far this season. Consistency for 40 minutes has been the name of the game for this Tennessee team.
The diagnostic thing, I mean, it can start with that guy right there, A.K. Okereke, who was a walk-on at Cornell because he figured if I walk on at Cornell, I got a chance to play basketball. He is a math guy who graduated in 3 years and has been a huge part of what Vanderbilt is doing, and he's got the ball in his hands. Vanderbilt controls.
Tennessee scored 22 points in the first half last Saturday against Vanderbilt. Now, they didn't have Nate Ament. They cannot have one of those performances today.
Tyler Nichols been off with his three-point shot, fired one up there right off the bat, and he drew iron Tanner into the paint.
Mark Byington, he wants to win the first 4 minutes of this game. He feels like teams that their first game, they've struggled in this tournament so far.
That's going to be a difference maker if he plays like that. Duke Miles, 2-2 since his return, averaging about 13.5 points per game, and he gets him started.
Yeah, he's got his pop and his explosiveness back about him, does Duke Miles.
They do enjoy a height advantage with the guys like Estrella, Ament, and Okpara. High arcing one will not go down. Knocked around, and look who comes up with it. Okpara denied by Okereke. Ament gets fouled. Well, similar to the first game with Florida's dominance on the boards, Tennessee can do the same thing to you.
The best two teams in college ball out of the SEC in terms of offensive rebound percentage. Tennessee grabs about 45% of their own misses. And Mark Byington late last night talking with him, he said we've just got to keep it close on the glass and not be dominated.
So we came into yesterday's game, guys, unsure of how long Nate Ament would play. He went on to take the game on his shoulders, and he had one of those career performances. I'm told by the training staff that the last 24 hours have been pretty straightforward. They didn't do any evaluations last night. They wait till you get a full night of sleep. Checked in with him this morning, made sure he was feeling good. He said, yeah, the leg feels great. I'm ready to play another one. So we'll see what that minute count looks like by the end of this one today.
Yeah, it was a 32-minute restriction.
Well, the training staff put Nate Ament on a minute restriction yesterday. Talking to Rick Barnes last night, he said, I didn't ask them and they didn't tell me.
He didn't get that memo?
He didn't get that memo. I played Nate Ament as long as I needed to play him, and he went for 33. Funny how coaches get the information they want.
Selective hearing.
Yeah, and put a stop sign on the stuff they don't want as the trainer walks through you. And not today.
Yep. Ament picked up his first. Nickel believes he sort of has found that rhythm again when it comes to his shot. Okereke, no good. And it's Bishop Boswell. You take a look at the starting five. And again, Miles missed some time. Working him back in, it's not as easy as it sounds because he used to playing without a guy.
Well, he gives Tyler Tanner another ball handler, and another guy that can grab a piece of the paint. So important for this Vanderbilt offense.
All right, Ament's first three is no good, and Miles thinks we're going to run here. Tanner open. That's off to the right.
Vandy's going to have to be good in their grind game today against Tennessee, because Tennessee puts you in a lot of long offensive possessions.
Down low to Estrella, who's got a jump hook and a fadeaway there, no good. And each team a little cold to start this one. Tanner with a blow by of Boswell. He had a chance, so Okereke will try again. That one looked online, but it was a little too strong.
Tennessee more comfortable in a tractor pull grind game, as Mark Minden describes it. Vanderbilt, when we get that thing in the 80s, it's not easy to speed Tennessee up.
So one wants a track meet, the other wants a tractor pull.
That's his shot. I know he shot the fadeaway, and then on the other side, that jump hook to his left shoulder. He shoots at about a 70% clip.
Raised in Boston Celtics country in Scarborough, Maine, and grew up a fan of the Celtics, and that means Kevin McHale in the 80s, and that jump hook as Nichols on the floor. And he's still loose ball down there. Finally, the whistle blows. But Courtney Green, Jeb Hartness, and Vladimir Voyard-Tardal were letting them play.
Well, Vanderbilt carried the SEC flag, Ravi, during non-conference play. Jumped out to a 16-0 start. I had them in Atlantis when they won the battle for Atlantis down there, and they had an edge on that island that I thought they were going to continue with all year long. And well, what a job by Mark Byington in year two. He moves his offensive pieces to find an advantage as well as anybody in this league.
The top four in the SEC says something. Gillespie freed himself for a three, and he will go to the roof to bring him down.
He freed himself because of the gamble of Tyler Tanner. You cannot gamble on Jacoby Gillespie.
Greenville, Tennessee native, whose dream it was, and he's transferred a few times, was to get to Tennessee to play. Miles bounces it, tipped up and away, and Ament takes it away. Difficult pass for Jalen Washington to handle. Estrella down low on Para. That's denied there, Washington. Not sure how he kept his hand from going up in the cylinder. Tanner, tricky, throws it up, no good, and that's out of bounds off Ament. It'll stay Vanderbilt basketball as Tennessee's get themselves an early 6-2 advantage.
Yeah, not pretty, but it does have some personality, right? And Tennessee, Jacoby Gillespie, not a great three-point shooter the last 3 weeks, but still, if you're Tyler Tanner, 3 and wide, don't gamble, especially early, and then not give a guy that's not shooting it great a wide open rise and fire. Grind it out game. Mark Minden said we have to play in it. We know what it is.
Welcome back to ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball, which is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. And Rayo's homemade. Greatness can't be rushed. Well, 79-22, the SEC tournament titles, but Rick Barnes has brought his boys to the final game a whole bunch here recently, and then trying to cash in for the first time. And if they're going to do it, that guy is likely to carry them there. Nate Ament out of Manassas, Virginia, who really has come along as a player, Jimmy, in the last, I don't know, what do you think, 6, 7, 8 years? I mean, it wasn't like a born-to-play basketball guy. But boy, has he developed into a star.
I love what he said last night. He said there would be no Nate Ament without Rick Barnes. And he did not choose the easy path. He could have gone anywhere in the country, but he chose a guy that was going to hard coach him and force feed him to work his way through the rough spots. And Nate Ament now has gone to projected top 10 pick in the next NBA draft. Said all year long he's a 5-star talent, a 10-star kid, got a great heart for people. Country of Rwanda is huge in his family's background. Just those guys don't come along very often.
That inbounds pass picked off by Gillespie, a former high school football superstar. And Amari Evans, who's made a big impact, coming off the bench, getting big minutes, wearing number 1 in orange in the corner. Gillespie denied. Washington picks up another good defensive play.
Vanderbilt could not protect the rim last year, and Byington went and got him one with Washington from North Carolina. Jalen Washington, maybe the ceiling for this Vanderbilt team might be on the shoulders once they get to next weekend. You got to have some rim protection, and he brings it. All of 6'10", 245. Tyler Nickel did a great job of recruiting Jalen Washington to Vanderbilt even before Mark Byington had a chance to visit with him. Tyler Nickel sold him on, we need you. You're the piece that we don't have.
Tanner knocks down the free throw. T. Rowe Price, the ACC men's basketball tournament in Charlotte, North Carolina. The semifinals, Jimmy, it's Virginia and Miami, the 2-3 seed. Top seeded Duke against Clemson, number 5 seed. Duke is going to play again without Foster. Patrick Ngamba is out due to injury. An 80-79 win. Duke listing a little bit over Florida State in the quarters.
Well, no doubt. When you lose your quarterback, your point guard, Foster, and that's all on Cam Boozer as well.
Estrella, no good. He follows it, picks up the offensive rebound. They bring in the big body, Jalen Carey. He goes in too strong. Estrella can't get it. Still battling. Took that ball down low. Wow. There's going to be a whistle called. Did Estrella get an elbow up high?
Yeah, they missed the first elbow and got him on the second elbow. J.P. Estrella might be thinking, what about the cylinder foul? But boy, those big bodies. Watch J.P. Estrella. I thought he threw one first that didn't get called. Right there, and then the second one, boom, does get called. Well, they will take a look at it. It wasn't any contact to the head or neck area.
2 fouls on Estrella, who is one of those big bodies they have on this team. Okpara Estrella, 6'10", 6'11". Jalen Carey comes in at 6'8". But watch that left elbow.
The previous foul is under review.
There.
We are reviewing for potential cylinder foul.
I thought when I said it looked like Washington was in the cylinder, that's, if I'm Rick Barnes, that's what I'm barking about right now. He couldn't make a normal basketball play. He had nowhere to go. Estrella has that 9'3" standing reach. Gets to a lot of balls because of it. This could very well be a cylinder foul, which I'm not in favor of how the rule is written.
You're playing tough, close defense,
yes, absolutely.
And you get penalized for it.
Yeah, if you're an offensive player, you got yourself stuck in a bad spot, and I don't think you should be bailed out because the defense has sucked up that airspace. But we see that call often right now in the college game, especially on drivers, is where it seems to rear its ugly head.
Three officials look at it. Phillips 66, Big 12 men's basketball tournament. Kansas City, Missouri, Iowa State, Arizona at 7. Houston, Kansas follows that game. The Jayhawks beat TCU in the quarters by 5. Houston beat BYU by 7.
Well, I'm not sure who the best team in the country is right now, but certainly it's going to start in the conversation with Arizona. Tommy Lloyd's team, the entire deal. Got an All-American Jaden Bradley at the point guard spot. You look at the 1s and 2 seeds right now. Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida, the 4th #1 seed. Can make a case for them to slide up. They can't play like they did today in the second half, or they're going to hold on. And then you see the rest of those. And the committee has to get those seeds right, Ravi. The last 9 out of the last 10 NCAA champions have been a 1 or a 2 seed. I think 16 out of the last 20. They've got to get those top 8 teams right. And it's not breaking news, but what's a big part of it. I talked to Bill Self one time about the difference of a 2 seed and a 3 seed, just your path to the Final Four. There's a lot to it.
Well, watching the officials, and this has become a thing now. Here's the announcement.
After review, due to it being a cylinder foul, the foul is being taken off of Orange 13, Tennessee, and will be placed on Vanderbilt 13. The ball will be on the baseline, and it will be Tennessee ball with a 20-second shot clock.
Yeah, it's one of those times you can go to the monitor and actually take a foul away. And that cylinder foul is just 2 or 3 things I hope we look at in the offseason. One of them is the appeals and the challenges getting underneath one umbrella. I think we got to do a better job on how we're defining cylinder fouls, because to me, Jalen Washington just playing good defense with his chest and gets penalized for it. But that foul by Estrella comes off the board, and one gets put on Jalen Washington.
Yeah, give Rick Barnes credit. He was all over it, and during the review, he was in their ears, reminding them of what he was all over. Washington and Estrella get re-engaged and tangled up underneath the basket as we resume play.
You've had Rick Barnes in your ear some this year.
I haven't had him in plenty. Evans steps into a 3. That's short, and really bad shooting for both teams early until Carey muscles it up and in. And 10 consecutive missed shots combined.
Tennessee only makes 6 3-point shots per game in SEC play at 33%. That's not who they are. Anything over 6 is bonus money for the team in orange.
Yeah, Carey knocks that one away. He, of course, has been with Byington. He started at JMU, and then he ended up at Vanderbilt before moving over to Tennessee.
Boy, Tanner's so fast and shifty.
Now pulls up and gets the roll on the rim. They're going to call a foul underneath, it appears, on Tennessee.
Yeah, so was the shot released prior to the off-ball foul? I believe it was. Tyler Tanner only weighs 163 pounds maybe, and 4 or 5 of that is his hair, but man, is he quick and tough and smart.
They called a foul on Carey, 23 in orange, Jimmy.
So watch the shots released. Oh yeah, it's an easy one. That's what Tennessee will try to do to you, man. They will check your chest early in the game, trying to set the rules, lay the wood. Jalen Carey playing against his former team. There's a little bit of bad blood, I think, between Jalen Carey and how he views.
You saw Jalen Carey, you would think more defensive end than you would basketball player at 6'8", 267.
Yeah, first team all defensive end in the SEC.
He is chiseled. Here's Nickel. That's no good, and we're going to get a call again on Tennessee. Looks like that may be on Felix Okpara. Well, you're right, Jimmy. That is sort of Tennessee's MO. They will be very physical, knock you around, wear you down.
MMA fight is how Mark Byington described it to us.
Can Nickel get going? And no, not with that shot off to the right. Boswell gives it to Carey. They'll start again with Amen. Carey and McLaughlin, those are 2 football players, and they guard each other now.
Impossible.
Two Vanderbilt players end up on the floor and dive. And Evans goes right by Tanner. That's no good. Carey, watch out. He stepped out of bounds.
I said impossible because Amari Evans tried to feed the post with an impossible angle from right up top. Tennessee, there's a couple of reasons why they're so good on the offensive glass. Number one, they have a lot of opportunities because they miss shots. But number two, Rick Barnes plays a lot of double low post offense. So those 2 big cats are always hanging around the low block. And they are first to the glass. They go there on the release.
Chandler Bing, the all-main team guy for Vanderbilt's into the game. Still maintaining the claim that he's never seen friends before. Volunteers are 3 of 14, and the Commodores are 2 of 9.
Offensive glass, though. Tennessee with 6 offensive rebounds on their 11 misses.
How about that defense that time by Nickel? Maybe he can turn that into some offense. Tanner. McLaughlin will try. No, it's just not going in. Good hustle, but it's knocked out of bounds off the foot of Bing.
Ravier, really good job to level off Tyler Tanner, because he's bringing that thing about 100 miles an hour. And he just bounces off of people. He's hard to stay in front of, but Tennessee got back and stopped the ball, built a wall, flattened him off. I said during the first game, Mark Bynden, I said, describe Tyler Tanner to me. He said, there's 8 billion with a B people in the world. He's the nicest guy in the world. That's a big list.
Yeah, he's a hell of a basketball player, too. And he had 25 against Tennessee. I mean, he carried them to that victory. We're going to need him to start scoring a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't know how long a list of 8 billion, what that looks like.
Well, he's number 1 on top of it.
I'd stop there.
Well, neither team can just grab a piece of the paint. Very physical.
Yeah. Nickel got his hands, both of them on Ament. That's going to be a whistle on Tyler Nickel. It's a team full of Tylers. And Nickel gets whistled there with Tanner on the bench.
TT, Tyler Tanner.
Yeah.
T-Nick, Tyler Nickel.
Yeah.
And Tyler Harris is Tyler Harris.
Tyler Harris. And you're looking at Nashville. That's where we are for the SEC tournament.
Here with Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes. Coach, you just saw this team a couple of days ago. What's been different about your team's start today?
Well, I think we're playing a lot harder, but since your husband is sitting right over there, I'd like to know, is that real?
He did good, Coach. It is.
Yeah, it is, yeah. You know, we're playing a bar, much more focused, but it's a long way to go. Both teams are competing at a high level. You would expect it, and we just got to keep guard. Got to take care of the ball a little bit better down there, but we're definitely playing harder than we did last Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
All right, so he went to the ring question first?
I think that the size of the diamond on Alyssa's ring kind of got him distracted. He's talking about taking care of the ball better. They don't have a turnover yet.
Yeah, no, he was completely blinded by that.
Blinded by the diamond.
One of my favorite relationships here at the SEC is Coach Barnes keeping it real with you no matter who you are.
And you seemed almost prepared for that question.
He may have given me a heads up 3 seconds before.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about that. I didn't think he was serious.
Tennessee getting 50% of their misses in this game. I know it's an 8-6 game, but Mark Minden's got to be concerned.
Hard cut there, Okereke, and can't get it to go, but McLaughlin, he drew both Okpara and Estrella. And that freed up the offensive rebound to put it back to tie it at 8.
Good job by McLaughlin. His guy went to block the shot, and as a result, you go right to the rim. Watch out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful pass.
It was Felix Blockpara yesterday. But he is so good and so fast, Ravi, for a 7-footer in and out of that ball screen action in the empty corner.
Ethan Berg into the game. They get it to McLaughlin, who kicks for an Okereke corner 3. They can't find it from distance. Ethan Berg, who hails from Israel, has got a lot of family and friends over there in the country right now. And obviously his mind is split between what's going on here and what's going on there. Another one to Okpara for the alley-oop.
Same position yesterday. He is so good, Okpara, getting opposite of the ball to that dunker spot. Just throw it up and let him eat.
Miles got his man up in the air, laid a tough one up and in. Tennessee rarely running here, Jimmy. Something you don't see.
They got to get something going offensively.
That was halfway down for Berg. Another offensive rebound for the Vols. 7 in the game. Ament rises, can't get it to go. Miles, who has just played a lot of basketball, steps right through and to go.
Because he has played a lot of basketball, he just knows how to score. He was going against length, man. And did a good job with that long last stride step to free himself up. And he and Tyler Tanner, as tough as there is to stay in front of in this league.
Another kiss off the window with a left from Gillespie.
Game's starting to loosen up just a little bit, right?
Miles played on a bad knee for about a month and a half and finally had to relent, and he had minor knee surgery as Nico continues to struggle from the outside.
Now, Duke Miles can do this, even against size. Look at this long stride step and the opposite hand on the left side of the rim. And then Jacoby Gillespie, the best that Tennessee has off those wing curls, getting down the middle third of the floor. He's a good layup maker on either side with either hand. His entire life grown up wanting to be a Tennessee Vol. Finally got his chance his senior year. And very emotional senior day last Saturday for Jacoby Gillespie and Thompson Boling.
And big shoes that he had to fill with Zakai Ziegler, of course, leaving. Brown can't get it to go, but Okpara's now got 3 baskets, all of them dunks.
Mark Minden saying the ball was in the cylinder, but if the officials don't make a call, you can't challenge it and go check it.
Tanner and Miles on the floor at the same time.
Okpara is right there with Chinyelu in terms of big defenders in college ball.
Yeah, he's just smothered there. It's going to stay in possession with Vanderbilt, but he had 6 hands around him.
Well, it looked to me like that ball was in the cylinder. Can't tell from that one. And the above the rim might give us a little better view of it. If any part of that ball, that's clearly should not have been a basket for Tennessee, but no call was made, no monitor review, and Tennessee catches an early break. Boy, in a tight game like this one, feels like it's going to be. Remember those tight plays.
Well, it's very similar story to the Florida Gators. They are second in the rebound margin, first in offensive rebound possession, and there you go with the second chance points. Tanner in the lane uses his body, and he is able to absorb it and bang it in. He's got a chance for 3.
Ravi, I told you, the guy's just got a knack to bounce off of people, stay on balance, finish plays. He's an all-SEC first-team guy who went from about a 5-point score last year right here. just gets off of Felix Okpar, which is not easy to do. Okpar is all of 7 feet and long. And Tyler Tanner, though, has got tremendous explosiveness from the same high school, Brentwood Academy, as Darius Garland. Spent a lot of time in the offseason working out with Darius, just refining his game. Always smiling. His faith is a huge, huge part of who he is. It just jumps out when you visit with him.
There's sort of an air about him when he walks in, and he does have that firm smile on. A first-team All-SEC selection, and the first Vanderbilt player since 2023 to have that honor. Bird gets it back, and he works with Ament in the corner in a 2-man game as Brown sets up camp down low. Now comes out to set the high screen on the right. Ament, you can't block it. He just couldn't make it. Carey, no good.
He'll do it again.
He will, block from behind, but Washington gets whistled. And to the graphic we just showed you, the second chance points and the offensive rebounds, Tennessee's wheelhouse.
Jalen Carey is number 5 in the country with an 18% offensive rebound rate, meaning he gets 18 of every 100 misses when he's on the floor, which is incredibly high. Ravi, Tennessee, they lead the nation field goal attempts off of an offensive rebound, but they're just number 290 in the nation in points off of those. They don't make those offensive rebound putbacks nearly as highly as you would want.
Yeah. 19 misses in the game, which is not good. 11 offensive rebounds, which is good.
Yeah.
So they're getting more than half of the shots they miss back in their hands.
Their points per chance off of an offensive rebound is well below the national average.
Carey, no, but there's a violation in the lane, and they're going to be another free throw given. Looks like Jaden Leverett, 34, just into the game. 6'11" freshman may have got a foot in there.
Well, Jalen Carey has struggled all year from the free throw line. Tennessee has as a team, but especially Carey, only 50% in conference play. It can make play calling for Rick Barnes in a tight game look different.
He missed 3 of them. He had 3 whacks at it. Well, they do have a bigger body there in Leverett. Doesn't get a whole bunch of minutes, but he certainly can give them a guy that's got length against this offensive rebounding machine that's Tennessee. Miles step back 3, feeling it.
It's a 9-point guy last year at Oklahoma, and has found his groove with this Mark Byington offensive system. Almost was a Texas A&M Aggie, and the last minute switch to Vanderbilt in a big pickup.
Didn't like the idea that he was sort of being pigeonholed into a role player at Oklahoma. He thinks he's a lot more than that. Berg, wide open 3, he knocks it down.
Well, he has earned the trust of Rick Barnes in the last month. Not as careless with the ball, and he's a threat to make a 3-point shot.
Miles needs an outlet quickly. Nah, he didn't get it. He didn't get the outlet.
When's the last time you saw a 5-second count in a college game? I know it's just like 15 seconds ago, but
you answered your own question. I was about to say about 4 seconds ago. Our score here, Tennessee 19, Vanderbilt 18. Brentwood, Tennessee. You can see where it is relative to Nashville. We are in Nashville, and from the academy to the university to Bridgestone Arena, Tyler Tanner and Vanderbilt coming down the famous road we call Broadway here in Nashville.
Coach, what are you telling your team to settle into this game?
Yeah, and we finally made it 3. We had some good shots early. They didn't go down. We got to stay the course on it. We're battling on the boards. We're okay on defense. We made a couple mistakes on screen away defense. Hopefully fix those.
Thank you, Coach.
You know, we talk a lot about the young coaches, Jimmy, in college basketball. I know the last game we did during the regular season, Vitale was on with us, and he talked about Golden and other ones. I mean, Byington is on that conversation, isn't he?
In terms of the face of college basketball going for the next 10, 20 years, absolutely Mark Byington is. John Shire, Nate Oates, Dusty May, certainly Todd Golden. A brilliant offensive mind is Mark Byington. You wouldn't know it today with only 18 points, but it's because they're up against one of the best defenses in the country.
Tennessee fluid offense, and that was ripped away by Okereke, and there's the size of Leverett to just rip it away. Boy, they are shifty, aren't they? Miles and Tanner in the backcourt.
Yeah, just like trying to stay in front of a squirrel.
Miles, he may have gone away with a little push off of Bird, but he's got another 2 points, and Miles is having a great start to the game.
I think that's a good plan against Tennessee, because Tennessee will take away your play calls and all of your sets. At some point in the game, just keep it one-on-one isolation and let your athlete go at theirs.
Miles 11, Tanner 7. They got 18 of the points. But Carey is going to go back to the free throw line.
Yeah, Duke Miles has not missed a shot in this game. Now 5 out of 5, and Mark Byington, I talked about how he moves his pieces around. Well, the piece he moved around was to get Duke Miles matched up against Ethan Berg, and Duke Miles has the ability. Showed me that back in Atlanta. It's just so good at making those tough twos just outside the lane line. And he has been through a lot in his career, battled injuries, battled role changes, going from a leading scorer to a role guy, but he has fit in beautifully in this system.
He sure has. This will be the final year of his collegiate eligibility as the struggles continue for Jalen Carey at the free throw line.
And Duke Miles had 34 starts last year for Porter Moser, NCAA tournament team in Oklahoma. Another thing I think most coaches value in that portal.
And Glockton went right up in traffic. Miles, good bounce pass to Tanner. And at one point, Miles has signed with 7 different teams over his 6 years.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a backcourt, though, when he pairs up with Tanner. They made 5 of their last 6, and way downtown goes Tanner.
Ravi, at one point in the season, Tennessee, the average three-point distance that opponents were having to take was at the 25-foot mark.
Yeah.
They really push you out about as well as anybody in college ball.
Their three-point defense is tremendous. They are long. They're going back to Carey again. He works baseline. That time spins it up and in against McLaughlin.
Just a bull, an absolute bull below the rim. And he get a ton of work done.
Throws it up, and boy, that was close, man. It rolled right over the front of the rim. And he will go and get a couple of free throws.
Well, this is what Tennessee does best. They're going to pound that ball inside. Okpara, Jalen Carey, Estrella. Carey's only 6'8", but man, is he quick for a guy that weighs 265. Has really gotten in good playing shape in this Rick Barnes system. But he wins that first contact more than he loses, and that is what determines how good you are as a low post player. First to make contact, first to get low.
McLaughlin out. Tanner knocks down that first free throw, and that two-headed monster of Tanner and Miles scoring now 19 of the 21 points for Vanderbilt. 20 of the 22 as Miles gets a breather.
There's a fire inside of his choir boy look that burns deep. He's a fiercely competitive kid for an undersized guard.
Estrella back into the game, getting banged around by Leverett on the baseline. Bird penetrates with the left. He's having a game.
He's got some offense about him. He's got some flair. He's not afraid to color outside the lines in this Rick Barnes system. Not as quick as Tyler Tanner, but he's pretty darn close.
When you're making baskets, coloring outside the lines is okay.
Yeah, it is.
That one may have been tipped by Gillespie, and Tanner gets bumped and goes to the floor.
Well, Ethan Berg has won his battle. That's so important in March. At the end of the day, did you win your one-on-one battle? And that little burst right there by Ethan Berg, and not allowing the big of Vanderbilt to come over and rotate to get a piece of it. He has tested Rick Barnes' patience at times this year, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's a very fair way to put it. I believe there was a shot he put up in a game in which you said he may never play again.
Never play again. Yeah, he just hangs in there, and Rick Barnes appreciates it too. Just tough as nails from those rear chewings that he's had. Boy, it's a scrappy Vanderbilt defense, isn't it?
It sure is. As Evans fades and can't get it to go, but another offensive rebound to Wayne Brown. Estrella, oh my goodness, a second chance, and again, Vanderbilt bench thought that was still on the rim.
I thought it was from here as well. That's two of them that doesn't go in Vanderbilt's favor.
12 offensive rebounds here with 3:40 to go in the first half. 25-22.
It didn't look quite as obvious as the first one, though.
Nickel needs to see one go through, and he does.
He can really rip it. I know he's been off, but he can really rise and rip it.
Gillespie all the way to the rack, up and in.
He could play for Florida, because Florida did that 7 or 8 times today, scoring within the first 4 or 5 seconds of possession after a make. Win the battle line. Every Tennessee practice I go to, it's said about 20 times. Guarding the ball is the battle line in this Tennessee system.
No Carrickey, Jimmy, you can see it was drifting to his left when he took that shot. Yeah. Then the shot was off to his left. Foul on the floor. We are under 4, so we'll take a break. Come back with free throws for the Commodores. It's a good game so far. Tennessee 27, Vanderbilt. Well, you get a dime for an assist. What do you get when Nickel makes a 3? You get 3. Tyler Nickel, part of the 3-headed Tylers on Vanderbilt. It's the SEC here on ESPN, and the tournament rolling on from Nashville.
Orinoco Ron Slay here in Nashville, coming up on the Sargento halftime report. We showed you what happened earlier as Florida took care of business. Also check in on the Big Ten quarters. We got one quarterfinal coming down to the wire. But how about what we see here?
Yeah, Tennessee and Vandy both going at it. The offensive rebounding for Tennessee keeping them in it, but the guards for Vandy keeping them in. Ravi, question for you. Who does this score a slow, low, snail pace favor in this matchup?
The snail's pace.
Snail pace favors
whoever scores last.
Yeah, I think the correct answer is Tennessee, but Mark Byington very aware of it. Again, he called it, we've got to be comfortable in our grind game against Tennessee. They just have a way Tennessee is to drag you into how they want to play, and that's where we are right now. The good news for Tennessee, got 27 points with 3 minutes to go in the first half. They only had 22 at halftime last Saturday.
No, this is an upgrade. Yeah. 22, 25 yesterday? Something like that. 27 today. And to Slay's point, I mean, Miles with 11 and Tanner with 9. They got 20 of their 26 points.
So Ravi Okpara and Estrella both with 2 fouls. Rick Barnes.
And Ament with 1 point, Jimmy.
Yeah, but Rick Barnes he plays guys with 2 fouls in the first half only 10% of the time. So I think you're going to see Brown and Carey close out this half with Estrella, Okpara on the bench.
Carey finds Ament. He says, I'd rather shoot a 3. And he missed it.
Now, he's really good at those long twos. A little surprised by the backup dribble.
Miles back into the game as he switches places with Tanner. Chandler Bing, by the way, he's got a body and sort of a maturity that belies his age. He's just a freshman, but he plays much more like an upperclassman.
Yeah, strong as an ox for a true freshman.
Okereke is down. He's in some pain there underneath the basket. Miles, yes!
Yeah, he is so good and so tough, just creating his own. It's not the Vanderbilt offense that's caused Tennessee problems. It's the Vanderbilt ability to just win their one-on-one battle with Duke Miles and Tyler 10.
Miles, 13 points here. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Gillespie to the moon, no good. Dwayne Brown, up, no. The battle continues, and it's won again by Tennessee. Boswell bounces it. It's still loose on the floor. Out of bounds, it's going to be Tennessee basketball's McLaughlin, and Carey got into it.
Well, Vanderbilt doing all they can, man, to get in the fist fight. The body blows of Tennessee can just wear you down, but look at the offensive rebound numbers, already 15 for the Tennessee Volunteers. And that can become a really big number to overcome if you're Vanderbilt in this second half.
Much smaller lineup, man, as McLaughlin is in there with Nickel and Bing. And yeah, 1 point, Jimmy, 0 for 5 for Nate Ament.
Vanderbilt is being physical with Nate Ament. Not letting him move with freedom with or without that ball.
Carey free throw line. He can't make the free throw, but he can make the jumper.
He should shoot his free throws about 2 steps back off the line where he shot that one from. I mean, it might help him.
We've seen that before. Nickel launches. That is strong off the backboard. And he and Carey have some words with each other down the other end. This Carey, former Vanderbilt player, now at Tennessee, thing is real as the pass goes off of Dwayne Brown.
T-Nick from up top. You can miss from up top if you're long and still have a chance. That's the only spot on the floor you can do it from. And Tyler Nichols shot that thing about 2 feet too far, but because he shot it from up top, Rab, he gets the friendly bank.
30-second timeout. We're in Nashville, man. Vanderbilt's got its fan base. Tennessee's currently sitting down. They're down by 2, 31-29. Take a look at this. After Nickel banked one in, he and Carey, a little shoulder-to-shoulder not love. Well, there's a little animosity, a little simmering going on here.
Well, there's going to be. I mean, Jalen Carey, for whatever reason, chose to leave Vanderbilt and become a Tennessee Volunteer. And that's like going from Alabama to Auburn or Oklahoma to Texas, Michigan to Michigan State, from Duke to North Carolina. That's what it feels like in this state. And Jalen Carey traded in the black and gold for the orange for this year.
And he talked about the culture being different at Tennessee.
He did.
Which was a knock on the culture he left.
Yep. And Mark Byington has been on record as saying, I kept the guys I wanted to keep. I've not directed anybody in particular, but Jalen Carey was not back this year. And the SEC slogan, it just means more. It just means more when Tennessee plays Vanderbilt as well.
43 seconds to go in the first half.
We finally got a game right now. It feels like a big-time game. That little crackback between Nickel and Jalen Carey.
Bing, corner three, too strong.
Take the last one. Where's Ethan Berg? Ethan, take the last one.
Vanderbilt, man, 3 of 16 in the first half from 3. And Rick Barnes, it may remind Ethan Berg and everyone else, we got 20 seconds here. We got the basketball.
Well, he might also remind his guys, especially at halftime, the problem that Duke Miles is causing his defense, because Duke Miles off the bounce. A tough cover right now. He's gone downhill both ways. And Ravi, his ability to make shots outside the lane is exceptional. You want your guards to get a piece of the paint and stay in the paint. But this guy is so crafty and tough. He's got the step back into his three. Like you said, he's played a lot of college basketball at the highest level. And boy, he and Tyler Tanner will be tough to knock out of this tournament and the next one as well. Small, tough, quick, fast guards that can create their own.
13 points on 6 of 6 shooting for Duke Miles. His previous 2 games against Tennessee, 12.5. He's exceeded that today by making the same number of field goals in 17 fewer attempts.
Duke Miles had 2 concussions at Troy. His first year in college ball was actually advised to give up the game.
Yeah.
Then went on to become a 17-point scorer at High Point. A role guy last year at Oklahoma, but he has been through it. Hardened, tough veteran kid.
Amazing to think he had minor knee surgery.
Yeah.
And he is moving around so well. 9 seconds in the half. Gillespie, James, he's going to use it.
A good job by Mark Byington to talk to his guys. Have James in the game as a guy that you can afford to give a foul. And now Tennessee has 7 to work with instead. And in a game like this possession, go back and look at it.
Byington brings Okereke in too, Jimmy, to make sure that the shot that goes up, they got McLaughlin, Nickel, Okereke to prevent an offensive rebound.
Yeah, get it up fast enough if you're Tennessee to get an offensive rebound. Get it up.
And Gillespie does, and a pretty play. He knocks it in with 2 seconds to go. And they will not get another shot off. Jacoby Gillespie ends the first half with 9, 2 of them in the last 3 seconds. Alyssa.
Coach, how do you get Nate going in the second half?
Nate will be fine. We make some free throws. We're right where we want to be. I mean, they baked in a 3, made some tough shots. We got to make some of those around the rim. We got to. He'll get his mid-range going.
Defensively, what will you tell your team in the locker room at halftime?
Well, again, we had some breakdowns that they took advantage of, which they will take advantage of. It's the kind of game you expect. We're not going to be perfect. We just got to be better.
Thank you, Coach. Rivalry game between these 2 programs, and of course we go into the halftime session tied at 31 apiece as we send things up to the studio. Darinoka, Ron Slay.
Welcome back for the second half as you're watching ESPN's Champ Week presented by Principal. It is the SEC Men's Basketball Tournament. Post game here, Nate Amet's got 1 point, and yet we're tied 31-31. It's the guards that have made the difference. We started at the top talking about Gillespie for Tennessee, and we talked about the two guards that are going to score for Vanderbilt, and they have done that in Tanner and Miles. But 1 point for Nate Amet after yesterday?
Yeah, 27 yesterday, but you know what? Vanderbilt's done a good job of being physical with him off the ball, not letting him move without ease, and I think that's going to continue if you're Vanderbilt. Make this guy work and continue to climb into his chest. He's become better in physical play over the last couple of months, but man, stay after his body if you're Vanderbilt. And for Vanderbilt, keep Duke Miles going, right?
Yeah, let's take a look at today's player spotlight brought to you by Cintas.
Well, Jacoby Gillespie is doing all he can. He's big first half points. 2 of them pretty much at the buzzer. He's made half of his attempts. He's got 9 and 3 assists. He's been good, but not quite as good as Duke Miles for Vanderbilt. The old veteran guard, crafty, getting downhill, winning the one-on-one battle against some really good defenders like Bishop Boswell, Berg, Kobe Gillespie. Again, this is an in-state rivalry that fire and fury and passion, and 20 minutes to settle it. They split the regular season, came in with the same amount of points scored.
Alyssa.
I asked Mark Byington why Duke Miles was able to be so efficient in that first half. He said he's just taking smart shots. He's being smart with the basketball. I asked him what he emphasized in the second half. He said, we're getting a lot of first touches off the board, but then they're getting under us. He told his guys, I don't care if we get rebounding fouls. Continued to emphasize just being there and being physical on the glass.
Felix Okpara had 6. He's back on the floor. He's got 2 fouls. So does Estrella. And on the other side, the only guy with 2s is Washington.
Tennessee 63% on the offensive glass in the first half. That's a crazy high number. Here's the issue, though. Tennessee has 15 offensive rebounds in the first half. They've only scored 11 points off of.
Yep.
It goes back to their inability to take advantage of that second chance.
They played volleyball at the rim several times in that first half. Gillespie on the overplay, threw it up for the alley-oop for Okpara as Tanner got burned.
It's almost automatic to start the game or start the half. Naked action in the corner for Felix Okpara in the 2-man game.
Okpara has 4 dunks. Tanner got his man up. They had a give and a go, and they got it to him a little too late. Okereke throws up a wild one, and it's an air ball. Rick Barnes just unyielding belief in Nate Amet and his ability. Tanner's on the ground.
Got held.
Yeah, he sure did. McLaughlin sensed that Okpara was going for another dunk and just denied him the ability to get off the ground.
Tennessee and Vandy have played 2 full games and a half of another one, and only 2 points total combined separate these 2 teams. That's how close they are.
Out of bounds, and it's right in front of Rick Barnes. Vanderbilt, Duke Miles is down here saying, can we please take a look at that?
Well, coaches are smart, Ravi. They make a substitution right now, like Mark Byington, and they slowly walk their guy to the scorer's table the entire time, looking back at the video guy saying, give me the sign, check it or don't check it. And they have found how to really manipulate those coaches' challenges.
So as the ABS system, the automatic ball strike system, Jimmy, comes to Major League Baseball,
yeah,
they've eliminated that part of it.
Vanderbilt coach has appealed the out of bounds. As of right now, the ball will be Tennessee ball. We will see what we have after review.
And because this is the first year the coaches challenging the college game, those discussions like you're talking about with baseball will take place in the offseason this year. We've got to do something to continue to speed up the game. As we look at this one, it
certainly appeared to go off the fingertips of Gillespie. But yeah, the pitcher, the catcher, and the hitter, Jimmy, they have about 1 second to say we're going to appeal. Here it gets dragged. We're taking you to a commercial. 33-31 with 19 to go. Outside of Bridgestone Arena, bustling, beautiful day as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Broadway was rocking last night with all sorts of colleges and colors.
Vanderbilt wins the challenge. It will be Vanderbilt ball on the sideline with a 30-second shot clock. Vanderbilt retains their extra challenge and will not be called a timeout.
Watch Mark Byington right there. I circled him. And before he can get confirmation from the video, he goes to make a substitution. Slowly walking Jalen Washington up, but he's looking back at the video guy the entire time, buying time, giving his video guy a chance to look at it, and it paid off. It saves a possession and a timeout for Vanderbilt.
And there's the video coordinator saying, yeah, we should be doing this. And we're not ready to get started yet. Did you just turn Byington's name into buying time?
That's what he did. The coaches, they're so well drilled by this point of the season. Just saving time for their video guys, maximizing everything they can. I said it in the first game, and I'll say it again, that the video usage we have on the benches has become a big distraction in the college game. For the coaches within the game, they're preoccupied by all the video plays they can look at, and it gets them irritated at the officials. It's slowing the game down.
Jimmy, as you get the explanation as to what's going on with the clock, we'll remind everybody that we got you covered on Selection Sunday once more. Starts at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, Sports Center on ESPN. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. That's Reese Davis gets the call with the guys to look at the men's field of 68. The brackets are announced, followed by bracketology. And then at 8 o'clock, 2 hours later, the women's field of 68 is going to be revealed with a complete breakdown of each match at 9 Eastern. All that time affords the opportunity to break every matchup down. And we invite everybody to log in and get on board.
There's your SEC Player of the Year, Michaela Blakes from Vanderbilt. Man, what a year she has had. Could argue that National Player of the Year in a tight one with Sarah Strong from UConn and
Shea Ralph. Let's go.
Now they got knocked out in the SEC tournament. Shea Ralph wasn't happy about the officiating, but Texas won that women's SEC tournament. The last time South Carolina didn't win it, they went on to win the national title. And can I ask, what are we doing right now?
We had a clock malfunction in the first game. They had to reset all the computers in here. And you and everyone else in the building are asking the same question. WAWD.
I like Rick Barnes' answer to Alyssa going into halftime. We don't have to be perfect in the second half, but we certainly have to be better. I think both clubs would echo that. They may have to re-stretch.
Yeah, over here is Jeb Hartness talking with the director of the officials.
Now we have to reboot the belt packs.
Technology just gets in the way of everything, doesn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, the old reboot the belt pack.
When's the last time you rebooted your belt pack?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it was 2 falls ago.
Oh, maybe we just start the second half over. Let's just put a minute 1 back and just go.
I think it takes a while to reboot a belt pack.
After the clock malfunction, we had to take off 4 seconds. So the shot clock will be at 26, and the game clock will be 19:06. We're going to put the ball here on the sideline. It'll be Vanderbilt ball.
Not done.
The long delay is causing because of the system reboot. So
there you go.
There it is.
Just didn't get into the details of the belt reboot, just a system reboot.
Did you have system reboot on your bingo card this morning? No,
did not. But what we do have is a Florida team that won 71-63 in what I know Todd Golden will say was not nearly our best game, with a bunch of missed opportunities. The outside shooting wasn't very good, but they did enough, and they beat Kentucky 71-63. And they are the first to move into the Final Four here in the semifinals. Arkansas, Oklahoma, 9:30 Eastern time. Alabama and Ole Miss will tip off, we believe, at 7 Eastern time. I mean, that depends on the clock reboot.
Well, good teams can win hard games when they're not at their best, and that kind of summarizes that Florida win today over a really gutsy performance by Kentucky to hang in that game. Now 3 games this year Kentucky has played Florida. to single digits. The only team in the league to do it, other than the 2 losses.
Miles back in, trying to force one that goes off the leg of Gillespie into the hands of Okereke. His reverse is good. Not easy for a big guy to do that. And he is rubbing that left knee as he runs back down the floor.
Yeah, but he had to find the other side of the rim to take the shot blocking ability away from Estrella.
Good hands by Miles, who was able to avoid an Estrella screen. Once we can get the half rolling, it feels like it's going to be a very, very good second half. These two teams just don't separate from each other.
Got to get Nate Ament going offensively.
That should help, but he missed a layup, and Estrella tried and can't get it to go. It's off McLaughlin.
And he has been, Nate Ament, so much better playing through a physical game, but so far not in this one. Vanderbilt don't change anything you're doing defensively. Look at Nickel right now, just body on body before the ball is ever handed from the official at the out of bounds. This is his spot.
They're going to get Nickel, who chested up Ament as he tried to use that hard cut to his right. Watch Ament with the basketball, and when he rises to shoot, it's an unblockable shot because he's 6'10" and releases it so high.
He has averaged drawing 7, almost 8 fouls per 40 minutes played, the best that Tennessee has.
Yeah, Estrella into his comfort zone right there.
That is his shot. That left shoulder jump hook. He can't get to the ball because he's 6'11" with a 9-3 reach. Well, Tyler Tanner's got a mismatch. Look at Estrella fight.
He threw it up. McLaughlin had it in his hands. It's knocked out of bounds. We'll stay with Vanderbilt.
Great job by Estrella to keep Tyler Tanner out of that lane area and force a tough 2. Tennessee, one of the few teams in the country that have great confidence switching 1 through 5, whether it's Estrella, Okpara, Carey. All of them will switch out and take on a PG1.
Tennessee's ability to just absolutely drain the other team's ability to shoot a 3 is on display as Nickel fires, can't get it to go. They are 3 for 17. That's less than 18% from 3 tonight. That was a fairly wide open one. Estrella blocked off of Okereke, and he ran right into McLaughlin.
You see what Estrella did, Rav? He actually sealed his guy, got the defender on his outside hip and held him there. Normally guys are posting up with his defender pinned on the inside, but Estrella is so big and low and strong. Look, he gets that guy on the outside, and it is over right there. And a really good post feed by Tennessee. They work on it daily. And this is his money shot. That left shoulder boom, and he does a good job, Ravi, catching the ball high enough where he can turn to the baseline and not get stuck behind the backboard. Very disciplined in terms of where he is as a post scorer.
Grew up in the great state of Maine, playing some basketball against Cooper Flagg. And Estrella, if he can stay out of foul trouble and make those ones close to the basket, has at times been a force for Tennessee. He's so big.
That spoiled his Duke, by the way. They go from Cooper Flagg, National Player of the Year, to Cameron Boozer, National Player of the Year.
Whistle blown underneath by Boyard Tadell, and there is Estrella picking up a foul. His 3rd, Jimmy.
Both these teams are in the hunt for that. They're right around that 4 or 5 seed line right now.
So Jalen Carey comes back into the game, and he became beloved in Vanderbilt when he first went to a podium and announced, "We don't like orange." And then, of course, he transferred to the orange.
Yeah, he's worn a lot of it in the last 9 months.
Tanner trying to free himself up. Instead, it's Miles. That's right on. Good job.
He is so good. Those 2 guys, they just have a great feel for one another. And Duke Miles just makes violent cuts off the ball to those shooting spots.
Got a real look into the unselfish nature of Tyler Tanner there after he gave up an open three to Miles, who knocked it down, and the joy he took in it.
Yeah, turned down good to get great. Yeah, that's one of Tyler Tanner's great qualities. He's truly happy for other guys.
What a play there by Gillespie. He goes with a reverse.
Isn't he good, Ravi, making hard layups, which is undervalued as a guard. Either side, either hand.
Miles uses his body, throws up a wild one, but before that, a foul on Boswell. And Miles will go to the free throw line to shoot two. We don't have clock belt malfunctions. The game does have a nice flow to it.
Yeah, no more reboots. We're in good shape. And what a great spot, right, for the SEC tournament. Locked into Nashville for several years. Bridgestone Arena. Big Blue Nation was in here game one. And a lot of black, a lot of orange now. Great spot for fans before and after the game.
Miles' 17th point. He is perfect today, Jimmy. 7 of 7. 2 of 2 from 3, and now 1 of 1 from the free throw line. He has not missed a shot he's put up.
Remember Mark Byington telling me in Atlanta that I think Duke Miles will make a push for all SEC. And he wasn't far off. I mean, this guy just produced time and time again for this Vanderbilt team. When he's been healthy, consistently the second scorer behind Tyler Tanner, right at 15 a game.
23-year-old Duke Miles. He now switches on to Ament. That could be a problem for them, and they quickly move out of that. But now it's Miles with Carey underneath. Akpara, he got hit there, and it was almost as if Akpara created the contact with Duke Miles.
Good job by Akpara to be the pressure release, because Tennessee had nothing working on that offensive possession. He just throw it up to the big guy. Look at Tyler Tanner, man, moved that ball, happy for others' success. Great teammate and a great little player. Those guys, look at that. They have a phenomenal feel for each other. And there's what Jacoby Gillespie can do as well as any guard in this league. That's why he's one of the all first-time SEC players. Tough shot maker and taker. Ravi, coming up later tonight, Darius Acuff makes his debut in the SEC tournament for Arkansas. First team All-SEC player and player of the year. One of the 3 freshmen to ever do it in this league, and he has been outstanding in every area. Just always ready for the big stage. Has played through injuries this year and destined to be one of the top 3 or 4 picks in the next NBA draft. He's got a phenomenal future in front of him. And they take on a red-hot Oklahoma team. As good of an offensive team as we got in the SEC right now over the last month with the Sooners, followed right there with Alabama and Ole Miss for the 2 games tonight. But Darius Acuff has been absolutely special. 4 guards, Ravi, on the SEC first team with Acuff, Philon, Tyler Tanner, Gillespie, joined by Thomas Houck. But man, those cats right there have absolutely done it. From Acuff his first year to Jacoby Gillespie as a senior. They have been terrific.
They have not been terrific. Tennessee shooting free throws. 3 of 10 so far, so 7 freebies they've missed, but another offensive rebound. They sound like a broken record, but that has been the story. It was the story for Florida in their first game. It's the story here. Wow, Gillespie decided I'm going to take it matters into my own hands and bury a 3. Four-point lead. Tanner with 9 points. Ament with 1. Not what you'd expect. Miles slips and lost it to Okpara.
Better guard him.
Yeah, Gillespie's going again. And getting it again.
He just has that knack, man. He makes 1 and he gets hungry for that 2nd and 3rd. And Vanderbilt for the first time, lazy and late in the transition defense to tag Gillespie.
Off a turnover on that Miles slip. Tyler Tanner scored 25 in their last meeting. He's got to get going. Instead, it's Miles. And he's hot, too.
What an answer by Duke Miles, because Gillespie just right up in his grill on the shot release.
Gillespie throws one way up off the backboard. And he acknowledges when I got to Tennessee, that was the hardest thing to learn, how to throw the alley-oop. Miles all the way to the basket.
What an answer, single-handedly by Duke Miles. Tennessee grabs some momentum. Duke Miles back with his own 5-0 run.
23 in the game for Duke Miles. Gillespie turns the corner, and there was a reach and a foul as Gillespie's going to go to the line to shoot 2 more to try to add to his total of 17.
And Jacoby Gillespie, been a small guard his entire life, and you've got to come up and take away his airspace. Jalen Washington got stuck behind that 3-point line about a half second too long, and there's what I'm talking about with Gillespie. He had just made 1. There's a turnover. He gets to that slot 45 where all shooters love to shoot from. The rim just looks different from that angle. And that's Duke Miles' ability all year long. And when he came back, Ravi, it took him about 3 or 4 games to get his burst back and his explosiveness.
Sure.
But he's got it all right now.
McLaughlin picks up his 4th foul, and this is a one-on-one match here. Miles has scored the last 10. Gillespie has scored his team's last 8. And there are the point totals. You know, the other part of that last Gillespie 3 was shooter recognizing shooter. How quickly did Ethan Berg realize, you know what, Gillespie's hot. I know how to shoot. He knows how to shoot. Let's get him the ball quick. He took the same joy in the Gillespie 3 that Tanner did when Miles made 1.
What gets you beat in the regular season normally will knock you out in postseason. And for Tennessee, their free throw shooting, a huge concern. Are they now 4 out of 12 in this game? Am I reading that right?
Tanner high with the left, no good. Estrella had Carey underneath, wide open, and he lays it in. A good look.
Ravi, the 2-man game with Estrella and Gillespie, all the eyes got on that from Vanderbilt and just completely forgot about Jalen Carey on the backside.
Duke Miles. Yeah, they got Berg, and that's going to be a foul on Berg. Miles couldn't convert the shot.
But Jacoby Gillespie has gravity ability about him, and Estrella rolls out that two-man game, and Tyler Tanner just a tad late and too small to find Jalen Carey. That interior passing for Tennessee is so impressive and so good. They can throw the tight ones with not much space, and they're very good in any type of high-low action, even if it's off the side.
Miles 2 of 2, now 3 of 3 from the stripe.
You know how many guys actually break the plane right here as a free throw shooter, and we never even talk about it? The shooter can't break that plane until the ball hits the rim, and just watch games from now on. How many times guys will kind of step across it before it even goes?
Duke Miles has made 74 of his last 80 free throw attempts.
Yeah,
maybe Tennessee can sign him up.
That's how you close out games, right?
Bird just threw Tanner away, and it was called by Voyar Tadal right in front of Rick Barnes.
Yeah, he's going to get an earful from Rick Barnes as well. As physical as this game has been, could almost call that on every drive opportunity. Ethan Berg right here. Yeah, he extends the arm, and a phenomenal job by Tyler Tanner. You got to sell it. Yeah, but you got to sell it right there. Tyler Tanner does. He gets the friendly whistle.
Okereke, no. But Bing gets an offensive rebound, a rare one for Vanderbilt. Miles, no. Another offensive rebound thrown up. They don't get the whistle on Estrella, as Washington was begging for that call. Carey had it knocked away by Duke Miles. Here's Tanner. Explodes, lays it up, and that is so hard to do.
And he can really get up in the air for a small guard, which you have to have. Just explodes above that Tennessee defense.
Evans to the paint, to the hole, block. Washington, a 3-on-1. Miles, Bing, up and in, and a chance for 3. Duke Miles has done all the scoring, Jimmy, but there he gets the assist. And bada bing we go with a chance for 3.
That Vanderbilt defense all year long has been scrappy. They're small. The double ball, they'll gamble with a high IQ, and Washington has given them a rim protector they did not have last year. And just when Tennessee got a little bit of an advantage in this game, the team in white, the 4th seed in their hometown, said, we ain't going away yet. Big time finish between rivalries coming up in Nashville.
Vanderbilt with a 1-point lead, 49-48 over Tennessee. And how about the physicality from the freshman Chandler Bing? Listening into that Vanderbilt huddle right now, it was Tyler Nickel who said, that is how you play Vanderbilt basketball. And this guy, like y'all said earlier, is not built like a freshman. He doesn't act like a freshman either, according to his teammates. 6'5", 217. He benches over 300. I'm told 275 for reps. And he has a 40-inch vert. He is 18 years old.
Strong as an ox.
Freshman.
Yeah, fresh, exactly. Nothing about what you just said makes sense. But thanks, Alyssa.
It'd take 15 minutes to put that much weight on the bar. Well, Tennessee is struggling at the rim. Just 11 out of 17 on shots at the rim in this game.
How long can they go with Nate Amen having 1 point? Barnes said the mid-range game would show up. It doesn't there, and Estrella knocked it around into the hands of the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vanderbilt continues to be very physical with Nate Amen in this game.
Miles left open. He's not missing.
Come on, Duke Miles.
28 in the game for Duke Miles. 10 of 11 from the floor. Ripped away into the hands of Estrella. Pretty play to make an adjustment in midair.
Yeah, not easy for a guy that big to have a little finesse finish. Watch out.
Great defense by Felix Okpara. Just great. Straight up against Okereke.
He was Felix Okpara yesterday, and protect the rim Okpara right now. Look at Tyler Tanner. Punch that paint. Attract those orange jerseys, and again, Duke Miles living in that slot 45, Ravi, off the elbow. Just draw a 45-degree angle towards the sidelines. The rim just looks good to shooters in that spot.
It's a different team with a healthy Duke Miles on it, for sure. Nate Amen had 27 points yesterday. He is 0 for 7 today with 1 point. And he got a bad pass. Tanner wants an alley-oop. Instead, he lays it up with a left, and it's Miles again in the middle of it all.
That Vanderbilt defense, they play exactly like they're supposed to. They're undersized. But man, are they quick, and are they scrappy, and are they high IQ? When to gamble, when not to gamble.
Down on the ground goes Estrella, and they may get Washington with a foul underneath.
Ravi Vandy in the SEC play averaged right at 7 steals a game. And Nate Amen is just totally out of rhythm, out of sync. And I'm going to credit Vanderbilt's defense climbing up into his chest. And they get out and run. Those two guards, once they get it, they are dynamic. And Duke Miles get a little bit of a rest, 28 points, and he's not done yet. Tied for a season high.
It's what you need to know. It is presented by Intuit TurboTax. Boswell, he was open. That's no good. Offensive rebound ripped down by Okpara. He'll get another chance. Can't get that to go. Estrella had it, and it was on the floor, and it's Okereke who comes away with it. Tanner. If that was Miles, that was going up. But Tanner's got 13 today on 0 for 3 from 3. And that's going to be a grab on Boswell, who missed the 2 threes. Next to the bench, they're working on Duke Miles.
And when you say work, you mean work.
Yeah.
And Tyler Tanner is so good at changing speeds with that basketball. Just, you can't get into his body. You'd like to, because he weighs 160 pounds, but you can't get into his body. Just bounces off a good defense.
Okereke, the former walk-on at Cornell University, trying to challenge Okpara, and he drew the foul against 34 in orange.
Foul charge
I don't understand, Jimmy, about Okereke, sorry, but his sister went to UCLA. He had a chance to go to UCLA or Cornell, really for the education. He said, I'm going to go to Cornell because there's this thing in the back of my head that says I really believe I can play basketball. And if I'm going to walk on, I'm more likely to do it at Cornell than UCLA.
And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to get my degree from Cornell.
Smart guy.
It's absolutely worked out. And to your point, Mark Byington talked about how his guys can really absorb the film and make changes from one game to the next. And he told me, I can make changes within the game to things that we maybe haven't done all year and just draw it up. And my guys really get it. And it speaks to that Vanderbilt education and the type of student athletes they go for.
Free throw good. Let's listen to what Mark Byington said in his huddle recently.
Hey, listen, we took the run. All right, Gillespie made some shots. We took it. Dig in on defense and rebound. Dig in on defense and rebound.
There'll be another absorption the rest of this way as we're now at 9:15, but they took the body blow and were able to fight back.
Remember, he told me late last night, Mark Byington, we've got to be comfortable in a grind game. Well, they have been this afternoon.
Tanner throws to Okereke. Got it!
How good is that by Tyler Tanner? From the first bounce of the ball, he knew exactly where he was going.
Boswell into traffic, no good, and it's Amen who handles it. Okereke, a 40% three-point shooter, gets it to go as Amen will go back to the free throw line.
Right, the first bounce of the ball, Tyler Tanner knew, I'm going to find that backside bomb with my guy Okereke right there the entire time. Going towards the rim with the ball, going to the far corner with his mind and his eyes. 3 and white is so good. Gets Boswell on the backside, holds him off a little bit. And that is good stuff from Tyler Tanner.
Amen's free throw is good. You watched that replay a couple times, and by making it feel like he was going to go with the layup, he drew Para off of Okereke.
He's a 35-minute guy, Tyler Tanner, in this league. 6'1", 165.
Nate Amen's third point of the game. With 8:44 to go, he's got 3. They're down 6.
Tyler Tanner's first scholarship offer was to Hampton.
Yeah.
He just hung in there and kept proving himself in the state of Tennessee and ends up at Vanderbilt.
Penetrates again, the pull-up. Yes, sir, Tanner now.
You can't stay in front of him and you can't knock him off his path. It's as simple as that.
Amen hesitates for a second, then drives hard, throws it up. No, he got his own rebound. May have got away with a walk, throws it up again. And now you're starting to see Nate Amen assert himself.
And Nate Amen will not back down no matter how hard the game gets. And that's why he chose to play under Rick Barnes. He said, I want to be under someone that puts me through the fire every day. Well, he's under the fire right now. And the fire's coming from the opposite bench. The 5 guys on the floor with those Vanderbilt jerseys on.
I told you guys I talked to the Tennessee training staff before this game about Amen's recovery, dealing with that lingering leg injury. Chad Newman, who's the lead athletic trainer for Tennessee, he said he's been doing this for about 29 years. He said, I have never seen a player who we thought was going to go into a game on a minutes restriction like he did yesterday end up having the type of performance that Nate Amen did. And as a freshman, he is trying to talk the staff into letting him play at times throughout the course of the season. There's no quit in this young star.
I'm going to keep it here, and there was a grab of a jersey by 23 in orange. That's Jalen Carey. 8 minutes to go. Remember yesterday, Nate Amen ended up with 27. It was right around this point in the game when he decided to take over. But right now it's the backcourt tandem of Tanner and Miles getting it done for Vanderbilt. 43 points between the two of them. There's all sorts of energy and emotion. We are in Nashville. This is an interstate rivalry. The Volunteers and the Commodores when we come back. We got a barn burner here. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. 60-55 with a couple of big ones still to come, including LeBaron Philon and his Alabama Crimson Tide. First team all SEC, all business right now. And if Alabama and Arkansas can hold form tonight and win their games, it sets up a rematch of what was the game of the year, you could certainly argue, in college basketball, where you had Acuff drop near 50. Then Philon explode for Alabama. Double overtime game won by the Crimson Tide. But they got to take care of business against two teams that are hot right now in Oklahoma and Ole Miss. The free throw shooting is certainly one of those things you'll circle at the end of the game if Vanderbilt can hang on. They are 12 of 15 before this one, where Tennessee has missed 9. 13 of 16. Good free throw shooting for Vanderbilt.
Rick Barnes, when he recruited Nate Amen, he showed him film of Kevin Durant in a game at Kansas and said, if you don't want to be that, don't come here. And now's the time for Nate Amen to rise up to the challenge.
He wanted the ball. Gillespie fires one. Too strong. Carey tipped it. It goes to Tanner, and he's running. Nickel pull up for 3. No. Washington, after Bing, kept that alive. What an effort by Bing. And they're going to get the Boswell hold on Washington.
Ravi, I know that Tennessee is up on the glass by +12, but I'll tell you what, Vanderbilt is getting winning rebounds right now. They're taking away that second chance opportunity for Tennessee. The guards are scraping down, getting involved in the fight. Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles, different guys, all 5 guys getting rebound. Look at Tyler Tanner. I talked about his explosiveness as a layup finisher over length. That time it comes into play, grabbing that defensive board.
All that metal that we saw Chandler Bing throwing around with the Lissus report, man, that helped. He kept that ball alive, which allowed the offensive rebound, which has now led to free throws. And now you have Miles back on the floor with Tanner in the backcourt.
Boy, with Tennessee's struggle to score right now, 8 or 9 point differential feels like 13 or 14.
No doubt.
Does it not?
Nate Amen's next field goal will be his first of the game. And there's a little bit different look of determination in his eyes right now.
Can he deliver on that determination is the question.
Berg into the paint, the floater, no good. Carey picks it up and puts it in.
Rick Barnes not in the spot yet where he's going to extend his defense 94 feet, just trusting his top 15 defense in the country to lock down in the half court.
Washington fades and give Okpara credit. He was there to at least affect the shot. Amen crossover, drives hard, throws it up, and he's going to go back to the free throw line.
It has happened the entire game. Every time Nate Amen makes a move towards the rim, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's 3 jerseys in white coming at this guy, making him play through multiple bodies. He's seen 4, 6 eyes every time he catches it. Yeah, but there's only one way to go through a storm, and that's to run through it. Nate Amen not afraid of the storm at all right now. Be the buffalo, not the cow. I learned that lesson earlier this week in my reading. Buffaloes run to the storm, knowing we can get through it quicker if we do that. Cows won't run from it. Rick Barnes told Nate Amen the same story, I think.
Nate Amen, he's got his Buffalo costume on right now as his point total is rising commensurate with the level of intensity that he's playing with. As now they do go full court pressure.
And almost.
Nickel cross court. Okereke wide open, can't get it to go, and it's Berg with a defensive rebound. Chance to move even closer.
Nate Amen has not made a field goal in this game. His points are all from the free throw line. He sees one, he might see 2 or 3.
It feels that way as Berg is dribbling through a maze out there. And here comes Ament with 10 seconds. He gets Okereke on him. Pulls up. There it is.
And then
you can just feel it coming.
It might be the start. It just might be the start.
Volunteer Nation to its feet. They sense the same thing. Nickel. Nope. But a big offensive rebound. Back to him. Tanner open. Miles. Bad pass out of bounds.
That's that half-court Tennessee defense. Their DNA, it is their oxygen. They locked down Auburn yesterday in the middle of a 20-0 run. They just got a good one there. Nate Ament works off a little bit of a fake screen up top and just finds his sweet spot. That 15-foot elbow jump shot, Rick Barnes has told him, take as many as you want. We trust your release and your length to get it off.
Jimmy, we said at the 8-minute mark yesterday is when he started to get it going. Yeah. He's got 9 points in the last 4 minutes. How about the freshman Chandler Bing, who draws the assignment on Ament right now?
Because of the strength is what Mark Byington is putting on him.
Ament, same spot, spins, falls down, and let's hope he's not hurt again. He is slow to get up and backs his way off and now gets lifted by his teammates.
And getting ready to attempt his 9th and 10th free throw in this game. I said earlier, he has led Tennessee all year long, drawing just over 7 fouls per 40 minutes played. Not scoring from the floor right now, but scoring from that charity stripe. He took a hard fall in that right hip area, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. So Ament back to the stripe. And the first one is good. And Nate Ament is now beginning to carry this Volunteer offense. The next free throw would tie this game up.
Comes from a great family. His dad is a French teacher in high school. His mom is a nurse.
Watch out, Miles. Sees a green light all the way to the basket. No good, no contact. And Ament with a board to Gillespie, who lost it. Tanner wanted to push the pressure, and Okpara used both hands to stop him.
That's the 4th foul, I believe, on Okpara. Tennessee just getting loose with the ball. It's bothered them all year. About an 18% turnover rate for Tennessee in SEC play. The ball just blew up when they had a chance to go down and possibly take the lead.
Tanner's about as good as there is in the conference. Free throw shooting about 86%. Scores 19 points a game. He's got 15 today. Miles 28.
Got to visit with Tyler Tanner in Atlanta for quite a while one afternoon. Told me he's got a pit bull / lab named Jet. He's never had a job. Always working on his game is what he's told me. I've never had a real job. And his first car was a 2014 Dodge Charger. I think he'll have some better wheels going forward.
He knocks down both free throws. He's been great from the free throw line. 7 of 8. And a 3-point lead for Vanderbilt. Ament by Bing, pulls up, no good. Tip, no. Ament's in the middle of it. Ball's on the floor. And a scrum sends it to Vanderbilt.
That's what I'm talking about with Vanderbilt. I know they're in a deficit on the boards, but they're continuing to get winning rebounds, man. Everybody scraping down, getting involved in the fight. Not allowing Tennessee to get second chance points in this game is a big, big deal.
The 4 seed against the 5 seed. Each team having won a game on the other's court this season.
Probably people say, Jimmy, Tennessee's got 22 second chance points. What do you mean? Well, they got 23 offensive rebounds. They're not converting those offensive rebounds into enough points.
Tanner, no chance. Boy, Okpara, block Para. Got that on the way up and sent it into the photographer's row.
And he was, what, 5, 6 feet away from Tyler Tanner, and got it at the top. And watch Felix Okpara just from about 6 feet away. Bam, block Para.
4:09 to go on the clock in a very, very competitive one between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. Miles, spectacular. Nate Ament, a double-double. Jacoby Gillespie hitting the roof here. 19. Who'll blow the roof off? Find out when we come back.
Boy, dynamic guard play today from Vanderbilt, right? With Duke Miles and Tyler Tanner, they have been outstanding. And they've done it all. They've made hard shots around the rim against the physical defense of Tennessee. They've gotten their own separation and knocked down jump shots. Tyler Tanner and now Duke Miles as well with 28 points so far in this game. Those two guys have seen a big rim early. And Tennessee, as good as they are defensively, they have not been able to disrupt the rhythm that Duke Miles and Tyler Tanner are playing with. 53 of the 65 points have been scored or assisted by those two dudes.
9 rebounds between the two of them, 8 assists between the two of them, and just 2 total turnovers. Tanner again with a perfect game. He has not turned it over once.
I mean, Tyler Tanner didn't have a turnover the entire non-conference last year as a true freshman.
Foul trouble, Okpara 4, Boswell 4, Estrella with 3. He's on the bench. Nate Ament is 1 of 10 from the floor, and yet they're down only 3.
Okpara just saved Tennessee 2 points. Tyler Tanner was coming off wide open, and Okpara, the long arm of the law, right there on that baseline out of bounds. That length saved Tennessee 2. I mean, here's what I'm talking about. It's a one-possession game, and everything's magnified now. Watch Felix Okpara. As that ball comes in bounce right there, he He reads the passer's eyes. He steps in the direction to where the passer was selling the shot, the pass to. Felix Okpara, one of the best baseline out of bounds under defenders in this league. Some guys just get over there and jump up and down. Felix Okpara is smart. He doesn't take ball fakes. He reads the passer's eyes, and it leads him to a 2-point saving play.
Okpara got his right shin in the way. It was a kick save, so the question is the shot clock.
We had 3 tenths run off. We were double checking just to make sure we didn't have more come off the clock, so we are good with what it shows on the game clock.
Watch Felix Okpara. Tyler Nichols saying, I'm going the ball here. My eyes tell you. And Okpara takes it out.
Nickel with 4. Fires one up, and he got bailed out by a Berg foul.
He sure did. And Ethan Berg doing all he can to stay in front of a very physical kid in Tyler Nickel. Nickel's probably got 35, 40 pounds on him. Ethan Berg felt like he was playing with a championship chest. Gets his arms out of the way. I just don't see that at all. That play in this game, that's a real tough one for Tennessee to swallow.
Yep. That looked like good defense by Berg.
It was good defense by Berg. There's not an explanation that's going to make sense to Rick Barnes on that one.
Tyler Nickel has not been good from the floor, but he knocks down the 2 free throws. And they'll take him out and bring Bing in for defense. We talk about the future of Vanderbilt basketball and the strong play of Chandler Bing. 5-point game. We are under 4 minutes to go. The winner gets Florida tomorrow at 1 Eastern time in the semifinals. Berg. Kick to Felix Okpara, who thought about a handoff, and here's Berg. The alley-oop, not a good one. It was up there forever. Okpara has it, and Berg can't save it. It's probably a good thing because Tanner had an easy layup.
I have not talked enough about Vanderbilt's defense in this game. They have been really good, bothering Tennessee, not letting Tennessee to get in any type of a rhythm, getting the ball side to side, finding angles on the inside. They are heating up the basketball is the best way to explain it. Just right in the airspace of Tennessee on every catch. This will be heavy Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles offense for Vanderbilt trying to close it out.
Okereke, the drive, the roll, no. Right off the back of Carey. Miles, a pretty play, but he can't get the layup to go. And Okpara with a jump ball, and it will go to Tennessee. A couple of layups by Vanderbilt. They couldn't get it to drop.
No, they could not. Tennessee has struggled mightily at the rim in this game. Vanderbilt's actually been really good until this possession here. And Duke Miles is going to make that 9 out of 10 times. Where is the Tennessee offense? We talked about Nate Ament is still just 1 out of 10 from the floor in this game. He has gotten to the free throw line. 0 for 8 in their last 5-19 for Vanderbilt has opened the door for Tennessee still.
And drawing the assignment to defend Ament is the freshman from Atlanta, Bing. They get a switch. Ament rises. No good. We're going to keep it right here as Estrella went up, and it looked like Bing got underneath him.
It doesn't matter to Rick Barnes that Nate Ament is now 1 out of 11 from the floor. He is option A right now on the offensive end for Tennessee. He's got that elbow pull-up jump shot that Barnes trusts. He can knock down a 3, get himself to the free throw line. He's option 1A. Gillespie obviously 1B.
Estrella's free throw is good. Estrella 3 of 3 from the line. Here's Ament's day. 9 points in the second half, but all of them basically from the free throw line. 7 of the 9.
He missed a lot of practice time with that ankle, so you wonder if Maybe conditioning is factoring in a little bit. Second game in back-to-back days, not an excuse, just the reality of it.
3-point lead for Vanderbilt. Winner to the semis.
Keep the ball in the hands of 3 and 2 if you're Mark Byington.
Okereke, big body in the paint, fades. No. And we got a whistle underneath, and it looks like it's on Tennessee.
I think it's on Estrella. Tennessee is very physical in their box offs, and they might get called for a couple of games, but I'd rather have that problem than a team that doesn't fight you. JP Estrella, I don't know. You got both guys grabbing each other. I just think that's a play on in this league at this level.
4th foul on Estrella. There are 4 Tennessee Volunteers with 4 fouls.
Look at Estrella right here get tangled up with, I believe that's Washington. But both of them are grabbing one another. The momentum is pushing Washington back. Probably what caught the official's eye.
Vanderbilt's last 9 points have all been scored at the free throw line. They've missed 8 of their last 10, haven't scored in over 3.5 minutes from the floor. Gillespie trying to end it, does so. Boy, his jump shot just goes through the net so softly. It may be Gillespie time if Ament's not going to help out with the field goal shooting. Gillespie's got 21. We got a 3-point game.
Ravi, you're kind of at the point of the game where it's not about plays, it's about players, and Gillespie up top just hunts and fights for his spot. He's really good at that 16-foot pull-up jump shot, a little bit of a lean back so he can get it off against longer defenders. Shoots a high ball. We've talked about that all year long, and as good as those Vanderbilt guards have been, Gillespie's right there with him today.
Sure has been, and when he got the call from Rick Barnes, he couldn't believe it, and then there were tears in all the family's eyes. He gets a chance to play at Rocky Top. Miles gets the switch. He's got Akpara on him. Ball fake works.
Yep. Like I said, just keep the ball in Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles' hands if you're Vanderbilt and close this thing out. How good was that? Because Akpara, he stayed on the floor, didn't take the shot fake, and he still finished.
He's got 30 points. Gillespie off to the left. Bodies everywhere on the ground. No whistle. Akpara got tied up with Washington. Okereke, he's grabbing at his right calf. He may have a cramp. So he limps back into play.
It is a must-stop possession for Tennessee right now.
He can't do that with that calf, can he? He did shoot it and missed it.
He can, but he should not have.
Yeah, I know. He's limping back up to play defense. Ament to his right. Pulls up, got fouled.
Yep. Going to the free throw line now, Nate Ament, for his 11th and 12th free throw attempt in this game. Very surprised by the shot taken by Vanderbilt in that far corner. But Duke Miles and Tyler Tanner, you can't have, there's not better guards in the league in terms of 2 of them on one team to close out a game.
Yep. But you'll get some arguments from Arkansas and Alabama.
Well, they're right there with them, but I said better. As good, yes. Better, nope.
No. Carrickey goes to the bench, Jimmy, with, again, what appeared to be a right calf cramp. And that kid's face sort of says it all for everybody here as Ament drops another free throw to make it a one-possession game. Nate Ament has made one field goal, and he's got 12 points. 10 free throws. Tanner with heavy pressure. Throws it all the way down to McLaughlin. Alley-oop. Oh, and it worked out to Washington.
The guts. The absolute guts to make that pass. Only the type things you see in March. And they're clinging to a one-possession lead and come down in their press breaker. First of all, the pass by Tyler Tanner to get it out of pressure. And Duke Miles right there just finds. We got the advantage on the backside with Washington. Jalen carries in no man's land, and Bishop Boswell's too small.
What a pass.
What a pass. And
after the main basket, the clock ran. We're going to put 46.9 back on the clock.
The inner strength and confidence by Duke Miles to make that pass.
You said put it in two guys' hands, and he'd been prophetic with that. That was such a gutsy call by a 23-year-old veteran.
You want to play loose and you want to play without fear in March, especially from the guard spot. And that sums up the afternoon for Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles. They have given Tennessee the business. Up 5 with just under 47 to go. What a pass. At any point in the game. I mean, you're from the slot 45 on one side, and you're throwing it to the opposite side of the rim. There's a very small window to make that pass. And Jalen Washington went and got it.
Jalen Washington has as many field goals made as Nate Ament. That was his first field goal today. Yeah, Miles, 30 points. He's got 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And they got a 5-point cushion, 47 seconds to go in a game that is far from over.
Look at Duke Miles. Duke of Vanderbilt. 11 out of 14 in this game.
Ament fade. No roll. Knocked around into the hands of who else? Tyler Tanner. And he dribbled out of it, and Gillespie would foul him. And now the Vanderbilt faithful believe they can pull it off.
Tyler Tanner is one tough little son of a gun. I talked about Vanderbilt's rebound numbers overall. They're down 13, but they have gotten winning rebound after winning rebound after winning rebound. Tyler Tanner, Ravi, the second best rebounder in this game for Vanderbilt with 6. And he's 6 feet tall and weighs $163. But like I said, don't be fooled by how he looks. That inner fire and competitive spirit is as good as there is in this league, if not all of college ball.
Akpara has fouled out of the game. Estrella will come back in. Tanner goes to the stripe, having made 7 of 8 free throws.
What helps Tyler Tanner, but although he's 6'1", he's got long arms and big hands, so it allows him to get to defensive rebounds in a crowd.
Gets the roll here. It's not his home court, but this is his hometown. And Tanner now is 8 of 9 from the stripe. 2-possession game. This is a very big free throw. And it's net. Ament clears some space for himself. That's not good. Miles picks up the rebound. And Vanderbilt is watching this clock wind down, and Rick Barnes says, let it go. The Vanderbilt Commodores will win the season series, taking 2 out of 3 from Tennessee, and move to the semis against Florida with a 75-68 win.
I go back and think about what Mark Byington told me last night about 11 o'clock. Said, Jimmy, we have to be comfortable and confident in our grind game, G-R-I-N-D, because it was a grind game. And Vanderbilt, so tough, winning plays after winning plays by Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles were outstanding and special. And Tennessee now waits on Selection Sunday to find out where they're going to go. Probably going to be a 5 seed overall. They've had a heck of a year, and Vanderbilt now advances to take on Florida.
You know, the other thing Mark Byington said to us yesterday during that early morning shoot-around, we needed a bye.
Yeah.
We benefited from a double bye, but we needed that bye, and they got the double bye by beating Tennessee. And here they do it again as the more rested team. 75-68. You can see Alyssa there. We'll get to her in just 1 second, but the bracket shows the defending national champion Florida Gators get set for Tyler Tanner, Miles, and the rest of the Vanderbilt Commodores at 1 Eastern. Alyssa.
Duke, you guys got another shot at this team that you just beat at home a couple of days ago. How did you get the second victory over Tennessee this season?
We just focus on the 3 main things: rebounding, competing, and just guarding. We already know that Tennessee's a tough team. They come out and compete, and they're a high-level team, so we just got to go out there and beat them at their own game.
You had a 30-piece today. What went into this performance for you?
It was just that chip on my shoulder. You know, I just came in. I just want to come in and prove myself and just show that I belong here.
When it's you and Tyler Tanner playing like you did today, what goes into that? Take us behind the work that it took to get to that point.
Man, it take everyone. It starts with the coaching staff, the managers for preparation, and just our teammates help us going and keep pushing us and make us go. So without our team and our whole support staff, we can't do nothing without them guys.
For all the kids at home who want to play like Duke did today, I asked him what he had for breakfast. He said Chick-fil-A. Give us the order.
Hey, 12-count chicken minis.
That leads you to a 30-point victory in the SEC tournament. Duke, congrats.
Thank you so much.
There'll be a run on those now.
Man, what a plug for Chick-fil-A.
There'll be a run on those. A 30-point performance for Duke Miles, and a phenomenal second half leads Vanderbilt to a 75-68 victory. For our entire crew, led by our director and our producer Scott Matthews, we do have one of the best crews in the business. Jimmy Dykes, Alyssa Lang. The tournament continues tonight on the SEC Network, 7 Eastern Time, Ole Miss and Alabama. For Jimmy and Alyssa, I'm Carl Ravitch. We say so long from Nashville. Sports Center with Christine Williamson and Kevin Nagandi starts now.